So I think there's quite a few newbies here who may have found me from my reaction video about Manifest with Mary's divorce after she manifested her SP back into her life and then manifested marriage with her SP. And look, it's not the way that I would want to necessarily be found by reacting to another manifestation coach's video about something like that. But welcome to those of you who are here from that anyway. I just want to say my top has just come out of the wash. This is my recording t-shirt. I'm in Bali. I have very little clothing with me. And if it looks wet, it's because it is. And today I really just wanted to go through some of the comments on that video and my responses to them because I feel like I articulated some points better in writing than I would be able to sort of off the cuff so long after having posted the video, recording the video. So there was a mix. Most of the comments were people sort of wanting, like hoping that maybe Mary would see their comments and see how much they still love and respect her and all those things, which is great. But the ones that were specifically about her divorce and everything, I wanted to kind of give some of my responses to those comments here for those who have found me from that video. Before we get into the video, hey legends, I'm Cerise. I'm your self-agency and manifestation mentor, and I help you decipher the nuances of manifestation from both the law of assumption and the law of attraction, because there's a lot of information out there that's either overcomplicated or oversimplified, and I've learned a lot of things the hard way, so you don't have to, because we're all about manifesting smarter, not harder on this channel. If you like anything that I say in this video or it's helpful to you in any way, don't forget to like, share, comment, and or subscribe. It just helps push my videos out to more people. And if you'd like to comment below to help me with the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just put a sparkle emoji because we're creating literal real life fucking magic on this channel. All the ways in which I can guide you right from my 22-page ebook all the way to one-to-one coaching and everything in between, like my workshops, and of course the Cheat Code Academy are linked below. At the time of me posting this video, the doors are currently closed to new members, but if you'd like to be notified via email when the doors open again so you can decide whether or not it's something you'd be interested in joining, that is linked below. And if the doors are currently open, then the link will take you to the page to join because I will update it. Okay. So one person said, I like your breakdown of this video. Mary was one of the first channels I began following several years ago. And when I started recognizing law of attraction is a huge no, and the law of assumption is the law, which I don't completely agree with. This video was literally the final chapter, in quotation marks, of that illustration. So I am sad she took down her content. She could have really pivoted into exploring this as her new phase. So I said, totally. If you read my responses to other comments on this video, it gives you a bit more insight from the perspective that I didn't quite articulate as clearly as I wish I had in the video. I may revisit the topic in another video, just going over the discussions we've had here to further clarify my points. I hope she feels she can still come back to make videos about manifestation if it's still something she enjoys talking about. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of the comments on the video, but I am going to go through some and my responses to those. So what I got from what she was saying, she felt like an afterthought to him, like she wasn't too important to him. She did love him, but he didn't put in the effort to make her feel loved. That's what I got from her. She needed more from him other than just existing. Could she have manifested a change in him? So my response was, I mean, as I said, we only have the information she chose to share on a public platform, and I'm coaching based on that. So I couldn't say exactly, but the way one experiences someone outside of them is based on what is going on with themselves internally, mind, and body. Because people related manifestations are generally ones that we have emotional attachments to. That is what makes them seem or feel more difficult than tangible items and things like that that we might be manifesting. What I didn't really answer in my comment was, could she have manifested a change in him? You're not changing anything outside of you. You're changing who you are, and therefore people show up to match that, right? Like I've said in previous videos, it's like whatever puzzle piece you're choosing to show up as is what other people will show up as to match that, to fit in with those grooves, right? And when you solely focus on the mindset piece, this is turning into a bit of a coaching video in and of itself. when you focus on the mindset piece solely, the reason why it oftentimes isn't sustainable if you don't also address what's going on internally, like with your nervous system, because remember, the brain is part of the nervous system, focus, because remember, the brain is part of the nervous system and therefore is affected by a very out of whack nervous system, which a lot of you do have for varying reasons. It's like trying to force two puzzle pieces together that don't fit, and that takes effort, a lot of effort. It's like having to constantly pour in the new thoughts and flip every opposing thought. That's exhausting. Whereas when you address the whole nervous system, so utilizing obviously my manifestation cheat codes, nervous system regulation work being the main one with this particular example, but also the self concept work, not just your I am affirmations, but also treating yourself how you want to be treated. That's real self concept, as well as feel good things, doing things you enjoy that are unrelated or at least seemingly unrelated to your manifestation, or that you're not attached to the result of doing in regard to a manifestation if it's something kind of under the umbrella of what you're wanting. When you do that, you are helping yourself actually become the version of you that you are deciding you are. You can do that with just thoughts, but your physiology is going to feel, if it's out of whack, it's going to feel unsafe with the, well, I mean, anything unfamiliar feels unsafe to the body. And really doing the body work is about creating that familiarity so that your mind, that is part of your nervous system, doesn't fight you as much on the new story that you're trying to tell it. So you're not changing anything outside of you. You're becoming the version of you that they can only show up to fit because that is who you are being. When you're not being, but you're telling yourself that you are, and you're not doing the other things when it comes to something you have an emotional attachment to, which is usually people related manifestations, then you are trying to force two pieces, even if they're like two very similar, like close to fitting pieces, you're still forcing and having to expend more energy to try and make those pieces fit together. So another person said, it sounds like she didn't believe that she is God of her reality and that he is her. So she didn't believe that everything is just part of her. Everything is one. We are all just made up of the same energy. That's how we're able to influence it. And that's why when we see ourselves like truly are just being the version of us who already has the thing, regardless of what the 3D is showing us. And I will go into this a little bit further in another video, I think. We're all one. Everything's just a projection of what's going on within you. And that's what this person means. So with my specific person, they're saying, the person commenting, I go generic as well, which is what I advised people to do, or would have advised her to do if I were her coach. That's the point of the secondhand coaching, not to coach her, but just to give you an example of what I would say to someone if I were coaching them, based on the information that they choose to share on a public platform. And I realize it's my reality and she is me. She has her reality and can choose what she wants in her own reality. This is not being the puppet master, which is what Mary said she started to feel like if she was trying to change all the things about her specific person, which is trying to change something outside of you. This is not being the puppet master. It's just knowing who you really are and being that version of you now. I like your take on this. So I said, exactly. I recorded this the other week. So when I was editing, I wished I had said pretty much this, that they are not separate. I was still working out the logistics of doing reaction videos. What you want is just part of you that you can select to experience. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit further. Everything is already, oh my God, what is with this overexposure? Everything already exists, past, present, and future, in every combination of past, present, and future. So you don't need to change the past to experience what you want in the future. And all that you are doing is putting your awareness on what already exists in the way that you want, what already exists in terms of who you're deciding that you are or knowing yourself to be. So when you go into a video game, all the players already exist, right? All the people that you can be within the game already exist. And you're simply selecting which version of you want to be in that game. Or, I always go to Crash Bandicoot, right? Because that's probably the last video game I ever played regularly back in the early 2000s. But when you go into games, generally there's also different environments that you can play in, or different levels, like there might be a snow environment, there might be a desert environment, there might be a water environment. So you're just selecting the ones that already exist. And if you can conceive of the idea, then it exists in the game of life. If you want to think of the game of life as a simulation, a video game, that might help you sort of see it in that way. So when you select in a video game, you're not questioning whether or not that's what you're going to see when you select the ice environment or the water environment or the desert environment. You know that that's what you're going to see when you select that environment and go into it as the player in the game. We are the universe experiencing itself, and with the ability to choose what we experience of ourselves. It was my first reaction video, so I was a little distracted by the logistics of it, but they'll get better if people found it helpful and want to see more videos like that. So again, the ways that you can help me determine what kind of videos are most helpful for you, including the reaction slash secondhand coaching videos, is to like, share, comment, and or subscribe. So interacting with my videos that you like and want to see more of like that. Thank you for sharing your experience with going general too. Another person said they never seemed to have a deep relationship. He was never home. Sad she put me on this journey on accident, but now her page is down. I wish her nothing but the best. I don't know if there's a like grammatic thing there that's making it come across a certain way before you say I wish her nothing but the best. I'm thinking it is. Maybe it's like sad. She put me on this journey on accident, but now her page is down. That makes sense. Anyway, my response was, I guess none of us were there. They seemed happy in the videos of them both that I used to watch. And maybe they were at the time, but everyone in our own experience is just a projection of what's going on inside of us. Her self concept may have outgrown the version of him she thought was amazing in the past from a worse slash lesser self concept. We're always changing and evolving, which means as much as it might disappoint others that they're divorcing, she'll probably be much happier in her next relationship. Shrugging emoji. I just based my coaching in quotation marks in the video on what she chose to share publicly, but I don't think others should be disheartened by this. She still manifested him back for several years, including marriage. So it's about taking the notes I mentioned to not repeat what she did if that's not what you want for you. I also wish her all the best. So just to go into that a little bit more in terms of the self concept, it doesn't mean that your specific person can't meet you at your new level of self concept as it continues to improve and evolve, right? But again, that's where your own choice always comes in. It's like when people are manifesting in an old SP and a new SP comes in who's already meeting them at their new self concept, and they choose to go with that person because then they don't have to, although it can be instant, but often it's gradual because you have an old story about an existing SP, whereas you don't have an old story about a new SP unless you still have a very strong overarching belief about all men or all women or whatever gender it is that you're attracted to. So, yeah, again, it's your choice. There's nothing wrong with choosing the new SP that you don't have to worry about the old story coming up for you about, if that makes sense. And in this instance, what I was trying to say was Mary will probably be happy with a new person because she doesn't have an old story about them. And they're already going to be meeting her with the location things that she was wanting to manifest with her existing SP and things like that. They'll already meet her with all of those things that she wanted from the old person that she had an old story about because when she met them, they said they didn't want to live out in the sticks like she did and things like that. So she's just going to meet people who are already on that page of like, yeah, I really want to live in the sticks, or they already live in the sticks when she moves to the sticks, for example. Those are very like surface level things, but just to help you understand what I meant by that. So this person says, in my opinion, your take is extremely fair and kind. To be honest, if I were you, I would have been a tad bit more critical. Guiding people in this kind of work online is a huge responsibility. It would have been healthier for her audience if she processed her story behind the scenes. I know everyone has their own way of doing things, but especially when it comes to SPs and relationships, people are extremely vulnerable. If you're going to give advice online about that, you better be bringing your A game, but that's just my opinion. And my response, which I'll elaborate further on, was I actually agree with you. I could definitely have been more critical. However, I felt I could give enough feedback that would be helpful to those viewing the video the way I did it without kicking Mary while she's down, even though she does seem at peace with it all. I'm firmer with my clients when I need to be, but they obviously still want what they want. Mary does not. I appreciate your take on it, though. I'll be making a separate video to elaborate more on some of the points, but without linking it back to her story. So, when I say firmer, I don't mean that like in a coaching call, I'm like, what the fuck? Blah, blah, blah. Like, like some coaches on here talk to the people, at least on public platforms. And I think I want to go off on a tangent here and say if the kind of people, coaches that appeal to you are the kind of people who talk to you like shit, that's because your nervous system is matching them. You've got an out of whack nervous system, and someone talking to you like shit is either what you're used to with other people, or your nervous system is kind of just familiar with the idea of you being that the crap on the bottom of someone's shoes. I would never be disrespectful to anyone like that when I'm coaching. It's personally not my style, but on the poll that I did to see what you guys wanted me to react to this week, someone commented, one of the coaches, and I'm sure most of you will know who that person commented. I just want to say while I'm on this tangent, I don't want this to become where I like a channel where I react to other coaches. I just don't like that approach. And I think if people are doing their nervous system regulation work, they'll find that they are not like the coaches that talk like that to their people, their followers, their clients would not resonate with them. Okay, and the last one I'm going to go through, someone says, I unsubscribed to her that day when she gave the reason why she's getting a divorce. I was like, what? Maybe if she had said she was just not interested in him anymore and wants to experience something new, I would have understood. She forgot who she is, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. My response was, no, 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 that's a shame. No's really weird to say outside of text, isn't it? That's a shame, but I totally understand your reasoning. Your self concept can outgrow what you want, and then it's up to you if you're happy to let the 3D catch up or not, which I spoke about a little bit earlier. So that's really all I wanted to do for this video. It gave me an opportunity to kind of coach a little bit further on things as well as going through the comments for those of you who haven't read them. And for those of you who do feel disappointed because she was an example with proof of manifesting back her SP and marriage with her SP, which I think was like extremely brave of her to do, as brave as doing the video telling everyone honestly that she was getting a divorce from her SP that she'd manifested back. I think that's why a lot of manifestation coaches keep their like success stories along the lines of what they know a lot of people are manifesting to themselves because there can be a lot of backlash as things change if they change their mind or whatever it might be, but also because it can put pressure on the relationship. Um, I don't know if that was a factor for her, but there are things that I've manifested that I keep quiet because I don't want to feel the pressure of like, oh, okay, I've told everyone I've manifested it. Now I have to maintain it kind of. I just know myself that that I'm at a point where I still might get in my head about that. And maybe down the track, that won't be the case and I'll be a lot more open to sharing. But at the moment, I like to keep things very private. I share a little bit more within the Cheat Code Academy, but even then, I've always been a very private person. And I think what also matters is if you're being private out of a place of fear, which has definitely been the case in the past with me, that can also backfire. So, again, I'm a human living a human experience. Mary's a human living a human experience. You are all humans living the human experience. And we're never really in the games, because it is a game, supposed to remember every single moment. Like, who we are. Part of the game is the temptation to forget the things that can distract us from who we are and then remembering, oh, no, 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 no. I am this, okay? And this is how it is, regardless of how it looks.